Imagine being trapped in the coldest place on Earth. No rescue, no radio, no way home. Your ship is slowly being crushed by walls of ice, and every passing day brings you closer to death. Most people would have given up, but one man refused to let fear decide his fate. His name was Ernest Shackleton, and what happened next became one of the greatest survival stories in human history. This is not just a story about Antarctica or a failed expedition. It is a story about courage, leadership, hope, and the extraordinary power of never giving up when every odd is against you. How did one man keep 27 others alive in one of the harshest environments on Earth? And how did a mission that seemed destined for disaster become one of history's greatest examples of leadership? Let's begin this incredible journey. In 1914, Ernest Shackleton set out on what many believed would be the greatest expedition of the century. His goal was simple to describe, but almost impossible to achieve: to become the first team to cross the entire continent of Antarctica on foot. He carefully selected 27 brave crew members, not only for their skills, but also for their ability to stay calm under pressure. Together, they boarded a strong wooden ship called Endurance and sailed toward the frozen south with confidence and excitement. For weeks, everything seemed to go according to plan, but as they entered the icy waters of the Weddell Sea, the conditions changed dramatically. Massive sheets of sea ice surrounded the ship from every direction, moving silently but with incredible force. Day after day, the ice grew thicker until the Endurance could no longer move. The ship was completely trapped, hundreds of miles away from the nearest civilization. At first, the crew believed they only needed to wait for the ice to melt. They had no idea that this was only the beginning of a nightmare that would test every ounce of their courage, patience, and determination. The days turned into weeks, and the weeks turned into months. The ice showed no sign of releasing the Endurance. Instead, the pressure grew stronger with every passing day. The crew could hear the terrifying sound of the wooden ship groaning as thousands of tons of moving ice squeezed it from every direction. Then, the unimaginable happened. The Endurance began to crack. Slowly, the powerful ship that had carried their dreams was crushed beyond repair and disappeared beneath the frozen sea. In a single moment, the crew lost their home, their supplies, and their only reliable way back to civilization. They were stranded in one of the most unforgiving places on Earth, surrounded by endless ice with no rescue in sight. Many would have surrendered to fear, but Shackleton remained calm. He gathered his men and gave them one clear mission. Our goal is no longer to cross Antarctica. Our goal is to bring every single man home alive. Those words transformed despair into determination. Yet surviving on drifting ice, with freezing temperatures, limited food, and no guarantee of rescue would become an even greater challenge than anyone could have imagined. For months, Shackleton and his crew survived on drifting ice, facing freezing winds, hunger, exhaustion, and constant uncertainty. Every decision could mean the difference between life and death. When the ice beneath them began to break apart, they climbed into small lifeboats and sailed across some of the roughest and coldest waters on Earth. After days of battling towering waves and icy storms, they finally reached the desolate Elephant Island. But Shackleton knew they still weren't safe. No ships ever passed that remote island, and waiting there meant certain death. So he made an almost unbelievable decision. Taking only 5 men with him, he set out in a tiny 22-foot lifeboat to cross more than 800 miles of the world's most dangerous ocean to reach South Georgia Island and find help. It was a journey that many experts believed was impossible. Against overwhelming odds, Shackleton and his team survived the violent seas, reached the island, crossed its unexplored mountains on foot, and finally organized a rescue mission. It was one of the boldest acts of leadership and endurance ever recorded in history. After months of relentless effort, Shackleton finally returned with a rescue ship. Against every expectation, every single member of the Endurance expedition was brought home alive. Not one life was lost. Although the mission to cross Antarctica had failed, the expedition became one of the greatest survival stories ever told. Shackleton proved that true success is not always measured by achieving your original goal. Sometimes, It is measured by the lives you protect, the hope you preserve, and the courage you show when everything seems impossible. More than a century later, his leadership is still studied by military officers, explorers, business leaders, and people who face difficult challenges. His story reminds us that even in our darkest moments, calm leadership, resilience, and unwavering determination can turn disaster into an unforgettable legacy. The next time life doesn't go according to plan, remember Ernest Shackleton. Your greatest achievement may not come from reaching your destination, it may come from refusing to give up along the way. If you enjoyed this incredible true story, subscribe for more fascinating historical stories that continue to inspire the world. Until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and never stop exploring.